All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm immigration attorney John Khosravi. Thank you for tuning in to this live Q&A for immigration law, 5 p.m. Pacific on Monday, May 11th. This is a regular, weekday, Monday through Friday Q&A session I have live on TikTok and on Facebook. The Facebook handle is JQK Law Firm. On TikTok, it is Immigration Lawyer John John with an H. And also it's going to be recorded and put on the YouTube page, the LinkedIn page, the Facebook page, every social media you can imagine. Usually the name is JQK Law Firm, my law firm, where you could do that. If you wanted to schedule a consultation, there is a fee. It's a paid consultation. Just email me at info@jqklaw.com. You can do it there. But if you had general questions, we could discuss it here during this Q&A just to kind of, help you up to see what's going on with your immigration case. Immigration matters can be confusing. They change a lot. There's a lot of things going on. So it's good to have different opinions. But just keep in mind, this is informational only, educational only. It's just general stuff. Without reviewing your case in person myself and talking with you and looking at your documents and doing everything that's needed for a case, I'm not able to really get there and tell you exactly what to do. But we're going to do our best to help you out with that, to take you to the next level. If need be, schedule a consultation with me, or maybe I could refer you to a colleague, because I don't handle every type of immigration case in my office. Although I teach immigration law at university and law schools and I train lawyers, I know it all, but I don't like to focus on everything. I like to be a specialist and really focus on a couple of things. Those I refer out. But feel free to throw them out there. If I can give you some general guidance here, I will. Now, while everyone's trickling in and getting their questions ready, I just want to talk and thank everybody who started following on the YouTube page. If you're on TikTok, you just click on the link above my profile. There'll be my Instagram page as well as YouTube. There's a lot more information I put over there than you see in the Facebook necessarily, and in TikTok in particular, so it's helpful. So Dragon Green Eye asks, do you think EOIR will open on June 1st? I don't know. Each court is different, so some courts may open up, some may not. I don't like to speculate on things. Just check the website for EOIR. EOIR is the immigration court system. That's where people go in their deportation. Again, I don't like to speculate. So whatever they tell us, we do that. I can't tell you what I think because it doesn't matter. And plus, each court is different and they open at different times. So when you ask me what I think about EOIR, well, maybe in Los Angeles it'll be open. Maybe in New York it won't be. So it really depends on a case. You might have a detained case as opposed to a non-detained case. It's an impossible question to ask. And I'm not going to speculate, but thank you for the question anyway, and thank you for following. So the immigration process is still going through. We're still filing cases. People just got a green card approved and came in the mail. They had their interview before the lockdown. I got a client's work permit finally issued. They have that, so when the market reopens, they can go to work and have a job and all that. So it's pretty good. They're very happy with that, and all this other stuff's happening. So Sangeet says, do I have to go for an interview before I get my permanent green card? I already did one for my temporary. Okay, so I assume in this case, you got your green card initially through marriage, which was a relatively new marriage, less than a year, 2-year marriage. And so you had to do an interview there. Then after about 2 years or 1 year, 9 months, you file another application called Removal of Conditions from I-751, and it's a package you have to submit. If you do a good job with that package and well document the relationship, and internally the Immigration Department, USCIS, does not have any things that are sketchy or questions about your case, it is possible to have the green card approved, a 10-year green card with the conditions removed, without having to do another interview. Frankly, I've never had a case, I-751, that I filed myself that required an interview, because we work really hard on making sure the documentation is there, it's clean, it's everything there for them to be comfortable with approving the case without having my clients go to an interview. And so especially if I start the case, do the initial green card, because from the beginning we set it right, and then during that 2-year period after they get their green card, before they file for removal of conditions, they're just storing documents and evidence and photos, and we submit that and it's good. Now Sagid follows up, says, it's already been 1 year I applied, how long will it take? Well, there's no answer to how long it'll take. It'll take however long it needs to take. Hi, Mohammed. But typically my cases for I-751 get done about a year. A year and a half is normal, up to 2 years. But I've heard it go longer than that. If it does go longer than that, then you should consult with the lawyer. You should consult with the lawyer now just to review it if you didn't use the lawyer. Binsby, thanks for sharing the feed. So yeah, removal of conditions is really annoying, and what I usually recommend with clients is, depending on the case, they should just file for citizenship while the I-751 is pending. But if that's appropriate for you, I would need to review your case. But getting citizenship, not holding it, is better if you do want to file for citizenship. So we got a couple of questions here. Lishi says, what really the form what really the form I-944 recently introduced AOS-4. What really will, just like the name of it says, affidavit of self-sufficiency. So they want to see that you could financially support yourself. So under President Trump, a new thing called the public charge rule. Public charge rule has been there for over 100 years, but they decide to enforce it differently. So if someone's filing for a green card, in this particular example, in the United States, in addition to all the adjustment of status paperwork they have to submit, they submit a form I-944 declaration of self-sufficiency, which is to show that they can support themselves, they speak English, they have education, they have health insurance, they never had a bankruptcy, they haven't used public goods like free stuff from the government that they shouldn't have, all this kind of stuff to know that they're not going to come here and not be able to support themselves. And so I-944 is there to document and really make it very difficult. It's almost double the time it takes to do a green card application because there's so much required to do the I-944 properly. It's a shame, but that's what it's for. Try to see if you could afford to live here and take care of yourself. Sangeet says, can I bring my parents from Nepal once I get it and apply for their green card? So Sangeet, you can't apply for your parents unless you have a U.S. citizenship, unless you're a U.S. citizen. So in this case, you have a 2-year conditional green card, you're waiting for the removal of conditions to get the 10-year green card, you still can't do it. I would say once you file for citizenship and get citizenship, the day you get your naturalization certificate in the mail and have it in your hand, that day you could file for your parents. Now, as I was talking about earlier about the public charge rule, that may be a problem if their parents' finances aren't good, your finances aren't good. That's another story, but if you want to start the process for your parents, you have to be a U.S. citizen first. And that's why maybe if things are taking too long with the I-751 removal of conditions, potentially look into or consult with a lawyer to see if filing for U.S. citizenship is appropriate, naturalization for N400, and all the documents that go with it based on being married to a U.S. citizen, if your spouse is a U.S. citizen. So there's a lot of ifs and buts that we have to look into. That might be the way to do it to help hurry up the process. Okay, Hashmi asked, sir, I'm a U.S. citizen. I applied for my wife last year, but she is pregnant now. Well, what's going to happen now? Well, it really depends. I mean, you could try requesting it to be expedited. It's going to be hard because the embassies are closed and stuff like that. Alternatively, if she has the child before her interview, the child could be added potentially to her case. It depends on how long you've been a citizen, how long you live in the U.S. There's a lot of different things branches that go out depending on your background, your spouse's background, all of this kind of stuff. So that's the kind of situation. Consult with an immigration lawyer in private. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but there's too much going on. So I would just say consult with in private to see if your child's going to be a citizen automatically, if they could be added to the immigrant visa interview, if they could just come in with your spouse if she does her interview before the child is born. There's different variations that happen that we definitely need to look at. Okay, let's see. What's the next question? User 72 says, hi sir, hi to you. Neha says, if my passport will expire, and he asks, if my passport will expire and I'm not in status, what should I do? Well, if you're not in status, you're not in status. So I wouldn't worry about passport. I'd be more worried about not being in status. So this is something you need to consult with an immigration lawyer private with. Akil says, hi sir, I have an interview for I-751. It's been 101 days. Will I have an interview? I don't know. It depends on the U.S. CIS office. So I could as well file the form I-751 removal conditions. It's been around less than 3 months, and he's asking me, he or she is asking me if they're going to have an interview. That's not up to me. So you just have to see if the Immigration Service, USCIS, requests an interview, and it's too soon. It'll probably be many more months, another year before you hear from them. All right, Binsby asks, I am from Virginia, filed for I-130. Will I get that status without interview? A Form I-130 is not status. So a Form I-130 is a petition for alien relatives. So that means you filed So it depends on what the relationship is the person filed for you. It doesn't come with status. It just opens the door for you to be able to apply for status later on or with it, depending on the situation. So there's a lot of complicated stuff that we have to get into to answer that. But there may or may not be an interview. It just depends on the case and what type of it is. And if the office wants it, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I need to have a consultation to see what's going on with your case. Akil follows up. Okay, I asked that question already. Engzaburara says, can I apply for a green card? I came to USA 9 months ago like refugee. Well, if you're a refugee, once you enter the U.S., you have essentially asylum status. Once you're an asylee for 1 year, you can file for adjustment of status from I-485 based on having a refugee asylee background. 9 months is not enough. So what you need to do is wait a little bit, but consult with the lawyer, maybe start preparing the paperwork now, so the second that 1 year mark ends, you could immediately submit it and get the case going forward. That's what I would recommend. Consult an immigration attorney to talk with it about it, set it up. If you'd like to contact my office, email me at info@jqqlaw.com and we can see what's going on. As always, there's a fee with my consultation, but just email me, remind me, and brief me and about what your case type is, and I can break it down what the consultation fee is. User 726 asks, I have a marriage abuse case, how long it take and what evidence I need for a green card. That's like a huge question. It's like how to do surgery or something like that. You should consult a lawyer in private to see what the situation is with abuse, how you could prove it and show it, and how long it takes is up to the government. Their timelines are really finicky. What you could do is go to uscis.gov. They have some timelines. I'm not sure if they have a timeline for this kind of case listed there, but this is something you should consult a lawyer in private with. There's a lot going on there. Samsat says, how can we accelerate the citizenship process? Well, I've done some TikTok videos here. So it can't really be accelerated unless maybe you're in the military sometimes, or if you've been married to a U.S. citizen. That's about it. So it's very limited. You just have to do the time and wait for it and not be in a rush. Be patient. We have Sonia Tahari joining. I see. I actually followed her. She's a fellow immigration attorney I saw in one of the TikTok groups. Thanks for joining, Sonia. She's in Netherlands. If you needed some help in Netherlands, that's the person to follow. If you want to go there, they have some good programs. They have like investor programs for Netherlands as well, if your country has a relationship with them. I spoke, so there's some things going on, and Netherlands has a better economy in Northern Europe than a lot of other countries in Europe, so it might be a place to look into. Sangeet says, thank you so much, you're welcome. You're welcome as well. Hashmi, thank you. Taqid says, I applied through my work with labor. Taqid, you have to ask the rest of your question, but if your work applied for your case, it's better to first talk with a lawyer from the company, but then have your own private lawyer to look over the work, because sometimes there's mistakes made. The attorney might not pay as much attention to your case as they do for the employer, so there might be issues. Hazan Gil says, my mother is here on a visitor visa and I'm a U.S. citizen. Can I apply for her green card? Maybe. A U.S. citizen can apply for their parent if they're here on a tourist visa, but just applying is one thing, getting approved is another. And so we got to see, the question is, can you apply? Yes, you can apply. Whether it can be approved, I need to see more information about your mom's background, because that Form I-944 Declaration of Self-Sufficiency we talked about 5 or 10 minutes ago, that comes into play heavily for a parent, because a parent's age is older, they might not speak English, they might have health issues. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We need to know about your finances, because of coronavirus, a lot of people lost their jobs. So you gotta make sure you're working, making money, how big your family size is. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So email my office, info@jqqlaw.com, to schedule a consultation, and we can take it from there. Sing Sol says, hello, I have a 10-year green card. If I claim unemployment, is that going to do anything when I apply for citizenship? Unemployment is a fund that you pay into, so it doesn't affect the public charge factor. So if you're a green card holder and get unemployment, it doesn't affect U.S. citizenship, as long as you honestly apply for it. You don't do a scam or lie in the application or something like that. Other than that, unemployment benefits is state-based. You see what your state requires and you get that. That shouldn't be a problem as it is right now. Under President Trump, there's always this wild card of him making new stuff up or his people. But typically, unemployment has been written that it's not considered a means-tested benefit, so it shouldn't be affected by the public charge consideration. Anyways, if you're a green card, they don't analyze public charge like that most of the time. You're welcome, Binsby. All right, so let's see. You're welcome, user 76. Princess Sophia asks, hi, I have a question. My husband is waiting for an interview in my backcountry if they get a visa. Where's the question? Just follow up and let me know what the question is. You're welcome, Sing, so we can take it from there. So yeah, please always just try to think about what the question is, make it into a clear sentence and put it in one place so we keep track of things when we go through. Yeah, that's it. This public charge is a really scary thing, It just finally came into place February 24th, so it affects cases for adjustment of status applied for I-485, Form I-485, application for adjustment of status filed after February 24th, and new cases going to the embassies. Now, the interviews have been shut down, so a lot of cases aren't moving forward anyway, and the embassies have been shut down, so other cases aren't moving forward. So we really don't have a good idea of what's going on and how they're going to look at the public charge rule and how they're going to actually do it. So a lot of this is up in the air. We just do our best and be conservative and get them everything they want. Tagler says, is a labor certificate takes a normal time? I don't understand your question, so you're welcome. Is the labor certificate take, I don't know what your question is, but labor certificate has a certain time you have to file it, a certain time you have to do stuff. You have to see what's going on in your case, what's filed to see what's going on. But your question is right there. I can't answer it. It's not a question. So, but thank you for trying. Anyway, so as I was saying, yeah, the public charge is a big factor that's confusing people, and it really makes it harder to file. It makes it harder to file fast, because right now we need to get a degree equivalency. So I have a case right now. A person went to school and got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in a Southern European country. Right now, we're gonna have to get their transcripts requested and then ask for equivalency. Some guy to review it, or some guy or gal, some company to say this is the same as a U.S. degree. That adds more time and more money. They're gonna have to buy health insurance now, because in the United States, and so they show their support like that. They have to jump through all these hoops to be able to stay here. US 3900 says, may have a final date May 20. I don't understand your question, user 3900. Please rephrase it and try to make it a little coherent so I could read it and answer questions. You asked, may have a final date May 20. This is already skipping. I'm waiting for new mail. I think you're saying you had an appointment date on May 20th and it already passed, or is going to pass. You're waiting for some new in the mail. That may be the case. Sandeep asks, marriage case not approved without interview or not, sir? Very rarely marriage cases will be approved without an interview, but I wouldn't rely on it. So if you have a marriage case pending, assume that there's going to be an interview. They really should meet you and talk with you to make sure everything's good. Plus, interviews are good because when you go there, you review your address, your full name, your date of birth, all the basics of your case. So if there's a typo in there, you catch it there before the case goes forward, so you don't have to fix it later. So you kind of want to go to interview if your case is a solid case, nothing to worry about. Sometimes they'll approve it, but we don't know who it is. So just assume that you're going to have an interview. Whether they do it that interview, it doesn't make a difference in your case. Just be patient. Anna says, I received a courtesy letter for I-693. Does it mean I will not get an RFE? My biometric is not done yet. So Form I-693 is a medical checkup when you're doing your green card case in the United States. You go to a doctor, what's called a civil surgeon. They do a report to make sure you don't have certain diseases that can make you inadmissible, and you're supposed to submit that with a green card application. Now, I typically don't submit that in some types of cases when I'm filing for green card. I just have the client bring it with them to the future interview, depending on which type of case it is. So when you don't submit it with the initial application, they will send you a letter that says, as a reminder, please bring it with you, or sometimes they say mail it to us. But here he says, this gentleman says, they didn't do their fingerprint appointment yet, but they got this letter, this courtesy letter. Does it mean I'll not get an RFE? No, maybe. I mean, it means they reviewed your case and saw that the medical was missing, but it doesn't guarantee that you're not getting an RFE. So these questions are hard to answer. Probably not, but if you did, I wouldn't be surprised. It's possible that you can still get an RFE. So just go with it. There's nothing much to worry about. It is what it is. So thank you for the questions. This is good stuff to talk about. The I-693 is really important. So there's a lot of issues that pop up with the I-693 civil surgeon report. It's the medical report. Sometimes the doctors put your name down wrong on there. Sometimes they don't fill out all the boxes. And this becomes a problem when you go to your interview, they're reviewing it and they see something's missing. They'll say, well, we have to do it again. And they issue an RFE and it's hard to fix it up. And other times, doctors might mark the wrong box or something like that. That becomes a problem too. So you should always request an additional copy and not go to a doctor for the civil surgeon unless they make sure that they give you a copy of the results to you as well. Because they give you one sealed envelope, but you want to also get an additional copy for you to review to make sure the doctor did their job right and didn't make any mistakes. On the other side, if your medical checkup happens before 60 days of filing the case, the medical checkup is only going to be valid for 1 year. So what's really important is if you do get a medical checkup, file the adjustment of status case within 60 days of that, or in many cases that require interviews, I just file the adjustment status case, then I ask my clients to get the medical. That way the medical is valid for 2 years instead of 1. It's kind of, the dates are kind of confusing, but that's the main thing to do. Unless you have a case that's not going to have an interview. For example, usually when I apply for a parent of a U.S. citizen, they don't have interviews in most cases. So in those, I really want to get the medical checkup done. One is so that they get it, they have it, and they don't RFE for it, because I know most likely there's not going to be an interview. And secondly, you want to know the results on these medicals if you're doing a case for someone that's older, because when those older people go to the medical checkup, the doctor might find a problem, and we want to know about that problem before we start the green card case. So it's something that's problematic, we could deal with it, fix it, or if need be, we could submit a waiver, an I-6-1 waiver for medical inadmissibility, and be prepared for it and not surprised. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into this and how we want to move forward with it. And that's why we really have to have a consultation and talk about it and break down all of the aspects of your life to figure out what's going on and to help them through that process. That's just the nature of immigration in modern day. So thank you for that question. Dali asked, for an I-751 petition to remove conditions, how long does it take for this case processing? Thank you, Dali. We asked and answered this question several times. It could be any this Q&A, but it could be between a year or two on average. Check USCIS.gov to see what they're saying, but that's the average. But you should really consult the immigration community to see if you did the case properly and there's missing parts, and then think about applying for citizenship in the midst of that. A private consultation is best for that. Endel says, how can I get it? How can I get it? I contact with you, sir. I have like a complicated case. Well, Endel, email my office and do a quick breakdown of what your complicated case is. And if it's something I may be able to handle, we can schedule a paid consultation to do an initial call to then analyze it further and then take it from there. So the email info@jqqlaw.com is the best way to do it. And so we can see, and we can take it to the next level. Let me turn on the light a little bit. So that would be the case that I'll do there. You're welcome. Maskisha says hello to you as well. Andrew, you're welcome. Raj says, how long does I-765 take? The I-765 is our application for employment authorization. That's where you get your work permit or EAD. How long it takes, I don't know. On average, 6 months for some cases, but could be longer, could be shorter. I don't know. Check USCIS.gov. They have a case timeline, and depending on which service center it is, what type of case it is, and you could look there to see and get a number. That's the best way to do it. Harry asked, sir, I filed a green card 2019 September, but I didn't get receiving letter. Can you tell me why? Well, if you didn't get a receipt number and you filed the case in September, then they probably didn't get your case. So you immediately need to go consult with a lawyer to see what you filed, call the government up, see if you can find the case, because you may be out of status. So it's very serious. If you filed a case that long ago and you haven't got a receipt and they haven't cashed a check for your case, they haven't charged you, that's a big problem that you should look for. Maxie says, I filed I-751 removal conditions. I'm waiting for receipt number. Yeah, it can take a month or two. They lag a little bit on the form I-751 to give you a receipt, but I would say either way to see if the check is cashed on it. That'll give you an idea if they're started processing on it. Charles Kelly asks, I am an asylee applying to medical school in the U.S. This cycle, can I apply for green card expedite request? No. As an asylee, you have to wait that full year, and then that's, what difference does it make if you have a green card or not? There's no requirement. Even an asylee has work authorization. They have status in the United States. Getting a green card does not affect or stop you from starting your school. So I don't see how that affects anything or is needed. Snow Leopard asks, hi, any idea when EB1 India will start moving again? I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't answer that. Maybe other lawyers can help you better with that, but I just go with what the facts are, and the facts don't give us that information. Maybe a coronavirus dies down, it'll move up a little bit. So whenever coronavirus ends, you'll see maybe, and I don't know, when are they going to open up India and open up the embassies in India? I don't know. Okay, so Invisible says, asks for a marriage green card. Is it true we can apply online now and they're sending the card? Not really. So for a marriage green card, you can submit for I-130, which is part of the case, but the rest of it, no, is not online. So it doesn't make sense to do partial online unless you have a spouse that's overseas. It's not really like the way you're asking it is. There's a lot more to it. I would say in this kind of case, consult with an immigration lawyer private to get a better understanding of your case. Let's see. Srikant says, I lost my job on H-1B and I have no scope to get new project, need help. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So if you lose your job and you're on H-1B, you pretty much have a 60-day period to either find a new job and kind of, start a new H-1B if you have more time left on it, or H-1B is a specialized worker who has a work authorization to work for a specific company in the U.S. based on having like college degree, for example. And so what you can do is maybe file change of status to a tourist visa to buy yourself some more time. But if you do that, potentially you'll lose the H-1B you had in the first place. And I know finding a job is hard right now. I don't have any good information that can help you in particular without knowing, especially knowing the details of your case, to see some sort of exception may apply or it may not apply. Okay, let's see. Danny asks, "Hi sir, I filed the U visa on 2016, but I'm still waiting notice, I guess." So U visas are taking a while. A lot of people are actually suing the government. They're filing lawsuits against the government for these delays. So that's something to look into. I don't handle U visas, but if you like, email my office and I could try to connect you with a colleague that's filing lawsuits in this, and you could talk with them if you want to do that to get it going. That's the advice I'd give there. But unfortunately, they're taking a while, and you can imagine the administration isn't really looking to help things move faster, so that's the situation that we're dealing with. So thank you everyone for joining. Official Kelly, Zane, Atra, Mayitri, Konam. We got a big group and lively group asking questions. I enjoy this. If you haven't already, log on to Instagram, connect with me on Instagram. The name is JQK Law Firm. I post copies of my approval notices, and those have timelines on it, so it'll give you an idea of the case I'm handling, what location, what timelines are happening. I also post snippets of videos, other information, other stuff that helps that's not on TikTok, it's not on Facebook, on Instagram, but also on YouTube. I have a lot of videos too that I put out that can't be found anywhere else. So these are great resources if you follow there. And if you're on TikTok, ask comments here. A lot of times nowadays I just say, come to the live Q&A, we can answer there, because typing this stuff on the phone is hard. Plus I like to give a fuller answer than I can or quickly on the phone. I really want to talk and explain things more fully, and that's why I enjoy this Q&A format. Just keep it coming. As long as we have a lively group, I'll continue doing this kind of stuff. We always have some good numbers here to ask a lot of questions, so I enjoy it. And I thank all of you for joining. Hopefully this information could provide you some guidance, some help to get going with your processing, especially during this troubling time right now. Coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever we call it, is driving us crazy. And so hopefully we can get our lives somewhat back to normal and just have fun a little bit. I can't even see my family anymore. Mother's Day was here. We can't even see our mothers. We're all locked away from each other. It's a horrible experience for human beings to go through, being separated like this. And the whole point of immigration, for me, is bringing families together, bringing ideas together, bringing people together for us all to grow. And the coronavirus is hurting that. So I'm really anti-coronavirus. I'm against the coronavirus, and hopefully we can get through that. You're welcome, Sreek. So we only have a couple minutes left. If you have some last questions, let me know. We'll move it to tomorrow at 5 p.m. Dharmic asks, does immigration do online work permit filing during COVID-19? So it depends on what you mean by work permits, but I'm not sure if the I-765 is online or not. I don't like to file cases online at all. I don't trust USCIS's online system, so I do everything by mail regardless. But whether it's online or mail, it doesn't really matter. You could print it out. I guess if you're doing it at home, you don't have a printer, maybe you don't have a scanner, you don't have postal pickup, so that might be the case that you want to do it online. But I was talking with another immigration attorney this morning. I do interviews with other immigration attorneys. Her name is Nita Dutta, and she's in New York, and she does everything online if she can. I don't like the online system, so I don't. But I can't remember. Just go to Form I-765, type it on USCIS. It'll tell you if there's an online version of that form. I don't think there is, but do it there. That you can find the answer there. I just don't like doing online filings at all with USCIS unless I really have to do it. Catch user asks, can my mom and dad visit if there is a case with NBC, they have valid visa? So user 123, feel free to ask. So what happens is, if you have a green card case is pending and the foreign person wants to visit the United States, most immigration attorneys will tell you don't do it, there's risks, because they're afraid that your parents will just come here and stay here and file for adjustment status, and they don't want them to do that. So the answer immigration lawyers will always give you initially is don't do it, it's too risky. However, many of my clients who have this situation don't listen to me when I tell them not to come, and they come, and they have not had problems. But at the end of the day, it's up to an officer at the airport whether they can come or not, because they have a case pending. And so that's that. There's risks. If they don't let them in, it's very troublesome. But then there's other issues of travel bans right now, if they let them in, depending on what country you're from. So there's risks that are involved. They can try. I have people do it all the time without a problem. But if you're the parents of the one case that's problematic, then that's going to be a big problem. So that's as detailed as I can get. There's no guarantees in this. It's all to the discretion of some border officer who's going to ask these kind of questions, and they're going to want to get into your life. And if they want to hassle you, they can hassle you. Unfortunately, that's it. That's all I can say. So we have a minute or two left. If you have some last question, check, you're welcome. We're going to close off questions in a minute or so. throw any last one that you have before we start again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific. A recording of this will be on YouTube pretty soon. I'm going to chop it up with some good answers and that we could help everyone else with. I'll have some like minute, 2 minute, 3 minute segments I'll put there as well. I'll try to put some on Instagram, on Facebook, primarily YouTube. So definitely follow along and we'll take from there. If you wanted to contact me, it's JQK Law Firm, jqqlaw.com, or info@jqqlaw. I think we're going to have the last two questions here. We just had a shout out. So Rakshi asks, hello sir, thank you so much for your information. You're welcome, God bless you. Mittal Bach says, my apprentice has the travel experiment expired. Please re-ask your question in the next couple of seconds so we can ask, because the question doesn't make sense. It says, my apprentice have travel extension expires. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe you're saying about parents. So your parents has the travel extension expires. I don't know what you're talking about, brother. So let me know really quick, or else I'm going to head out. But thank you all for joining. User 123 says, if I adopt someone from another country, how should I apply? That's a very complicated question. There's a million and one things you have to know about the adoption, the age of the adoptee, if the adoption is proper according to Hague or a non-Hague country, what your background is. There's a million and one things. That's something 100% in private you should consult with an immigration attorney. And the last question, Jennifer Bonnick says, why do you always talk about this boring stuff but no hats? Thank you so much. I guess Jennifer Bonnick is a little bit of a wild person to ask questions every once in a while. Middlebank says, and they are stuck in India. Okay, so travel, this seems like a bad situation you're in. This is calls for a private consultation as to see what's going on exactly and how to help. But with that, unfortunately, we're going to call it a day. I'll be back tomorrow again, 5 p.m. Pacific time. This is Los Angeles time, Monday through Friday. I do this live on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, John, and on Facebook, JQK Law. And you can always catch the JQK Law Firm, and you can always catch the videos at YouTube, JQK Law Firm, and all the other social media. My email is info@jqqlaw.com. Thanks again for joining. I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow. God bless and be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.